Yes, thank you. Thank you, Syntis organizers and ESPON team to give us an opportunity to present our latest research project here today, which is funded by ESPON and we are very excited about. Before I tell you about the project, I want to give you all a brief introduction about our agency. The Cultural Heritage Agency of Iceland is an administrative institution which is responsible for protection of cultural heritage, both archaeological and built heritage, in accordance with the relevant legislation. Latest legislation was passed in the year 2012. The agency is within the remit of Ministry of Education, Science and Culture. Our main role is to assure the preservation of cultural... Sorry about this. I think, can you see me or can you all see me or?
No, we can hear you, but we don't see you for the moment.
What about now?
We see only the first page of the PowerPoint.
My camera is on, so I don't know what is happening here. I don't know what to tell you. Let me see.
Sólrún,
Yeah.
if the PowerPoint is not able to be presented, you can say us what is its content, and we make all a creative effort to follow you.
I don't know if I... yeah, okay. I don't know how to change this, but
maybe Sólrún, you can just go on with the presentation without us seeing you. I suppose.
Yes.
That could be a way forward.
Yes, let's do that. Thank you. Yeah, so I was talking about our agency. Our main role, even though we have many, is to assure the preservation of cultural heritage in its natural environment, to facilitate and promote public access and knowledge of such heritage. The Director General is Kristín Huld Sigurðardóttir, who was speaking here just briefly today, and she will be here with us at least for the first half, and we will both be answering any questions you have regarding the project or our agency. So Clara, please, next slide. Yeah, so back to the project. We have defined the geographical location for the research project, which is this area marked on the map in yellow and green. It is the two municipalities of Skútustaðahreppur and Þingeyjarsveit in northeast Iceland. And the focus is set on cultural heritage sites within the two regions, with a special focus on one protected heritage site, Hofstadter, which I will come back to later. Next slide, please. The area we have chosen is famous for its great landscapes, natural resources, and diverse bird life surrounding the complex ecosystem in Lake Mývatn. It is, however, one of the most researched areas in Iceland, archaeologically speaking, which is one of the reasons why we chose it for our case study. Archaeological excavations have been conducted on various sites all around the two regions, on farms, settlement sites, both pagan burials dated to the Viking Age, as well as church and cemetery from the start of Christianity. In addition, the National Museum was founded in 1863 as Museum of Antiquities, and one of its first artifacts came from this area. A Viking Age chessboard set called Hnefatafl that you can see on this slide. It is on display at the National Museum today and is said to be the reason the museum was founded in the first place. Next slide, please. Research has shown that the main tourist attraction is nature, as Syntis mentioned, in these regions, like in most parts of Iceland. But the locals in the two regions we have chosen have expressed an interest in diverting tourists to other areas. And we believe there are many archaeological sites that can be used for this purpose. Next slide, please. The project is just kicking off and is still being formed in some ways, but I want to give you a brief summary of what we have set out to accomplish with this research. We hope that it will provide us with useful information regarding whether and in what way the cultural heritage in the regions will benefit the local community. It will produce fruitful ideas on how the locals wish to use the material culture for the benefit of their community. Demonstrate if and how archaeological research in the region has contributed to the society, both economically and socially. In addition, the project will produce the right tools or methods to use for same analysis in other regions in Iceland. It will also be very interesting for us to see how much value the locals put on the cultural heritage sites in their vicinity, and if they even value it at all. That is not necessarily a given factor. So the approach will be twofold. We want to measure the economic value and societal value of archaeological and heritage sites within the two regions. Our collaborators are the Icelandic Tourism Research Center and Institute of Economic Studies, University of Iceland. After a few meetings with the specialists of these two institutions, a methodology was chosen to estimate the economic value of preserving heritage sites amongst the population of the two municipalities. A so-called stated preference approach will be used. The method relies on surveys where a proposed change at a specific cost is presented, and participants are asked to state their preference among two or more alternatives. This task could be carried out via discrete choice contingent evaluation, where the question is framed as a referendum vote between the proposed preservation project and status quo. However, the value of other public projects might provide an interesting reference for the preservation project, as well as making the decision more realistic. This requires other credible alternative public projects, which need to be identified in cooperation with local authorities and other working groups of this project. The aim is to measure also the societal value of cultural heritage sites by exploring how residents in a small community view the heritage site of Hofstadter and address the issue of measuring the impact of culture and cultural heritage on society and local developments. The goal is to provide a comprehension of the factors, what residents consider important for the development and utilization of the heritage site. Both approaches will entail surveys and interviews, focus groups, and online questionnaires, mostly with residents living in the two municipalities, but also interviews with stakeholders. So next slide, please. So why make Hofstadter a focal point? Well, it is a protected site that has been researched by archaeologists for decades. The first research took place in the late 19th century, and most recently, however, archaeologists have discovered an unknown settlement site within the land boundaries. Yeah, the Viking Age hall that you can see on the aerial photo is the largest structure from this period that has been unearthed in Iceland. It is therefore one of the most impressive sites of its kind that you can find outdoors in Iceland. In the vicinity of the Great Viking Age Hall, you can find remains of the church and cemetery dated to the early years of Christianity. These remarkable remains, together with around 70 other sites that lie within the boundaries of Hofstadter, will be defined as cultural landscape and listed as such. Yeah, within the two municipalities, there are 26 protected heritage sites, which you can see on this map here. And we have, just for some context, we have a total of 850 sites listed in Iceland. So these are all archaeological sites or heritage sites. Houses are not included in this. So I think we're down to the last slide, I think. Another reason why we chose Hofstadter is because it has a couple of buildings that our agency oversees. One is living quarters, the other is a big outhouse that you can see circled here on this slide. You can see also the big Viking Age hall there, and then a half-open excavation area is the church and the cemetery that I mentioned before. These buildings have a lot of potential, but we have been looking to find the best use for it. And hopefully with our research, we managed to find the right function for these buildings at Hofstadter. So the place will contribute both to local communities as well as development in the tourism industry. So I think that is all today from me. Thank you for listening.